Part 78. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 771. Hear what Elder Lihuo said. Several professors present were also stunned. They didn't expect that Elder Lihuo, who was always greedy for money, could actually offer such an attractive offer. It was as if the sun was rising from the west. Elder Lihuo, what you said, is true. A professor from Wang Ao's lineage couldn't help but ask, if that's true, I can barely put together these 100,000 Dao stones. 100,000 Dao stones can be exchanged for a Tianyang baptism quota, but it is not a loss. Elder Lihuo is a man of his word and will definitely not deceive us. Then thank you, Elder Lihuo. Most of the professors in the Professors' College are also practitioners of the spiritual realm. Although these professors have obtained the title of professor, they are still eager for opportunities like the baptism of Tianyang. At this moment, I heard Elder Lihuo offer such a good price. No one needs to say more. Naturally, each of these professors was more active than the other, and then they all prepared the Taoist stones happily. Wait until these people are gone. The smile on Elder Lihuo's face slowly disappeared. Then, a middle-aged man in a white robe slowly walked out behind him. Elder Lihuo is really good at calculating. With such an operation, not only did you get hundreds of thousands of Dao stones for no reason, but you also gained the support of a large number of disciples. The middle-aged man laughed and said, "That's really good." Hearing this, Elder Lihuo was stunned for a moment and turned around quickly. When he saw this middle-aged man in white, his expression changed instantly. Because he saw that this middle-aged man was not from Qinghua College. Shi Qingfeng, Elder Lihuo recognized this man after a moment of surprise. You actually came to our Qinghua Academy. How? Your Qinghua Academy is not a dragon's den and a tiger's den, so why can't I, Shi Qingfeng, come? Shi Qingfeng smiled slightly, or maybe Elder Lihuo has forgotten the kindness of my Shillong sect in giving medicine. Hear this. Elder Lihuo also let out a long sigh. It turned out that when he was still in the spiritual realm, he suffered a serious injury and was about to die. It was Shi Qingfeng from the Shillong sect who gave him a life-saving pill and saved his life. He originally wanted to join the Shillong sect. But Shi Qingfeng refused, saying that he still had old injuries and was not suitable for the Shillong sect's physical training methods, and instead asked him to join Qinghua Academy. Elder Lihuo was also a little hesitant about this. He knew that there was no free lunch in the world. As the young sect leader of Shillong sect, Shi Qingfeng could not give him so many benefits for no reason. Can give him the elixir. He will definitely need to repay him in the future. Therefore, I have been cautious in these years, and I also took the initiative to ask Shi Qingfeng, hoping to provide some help to Shillong sect. But in the end they were rejected by Shi Qingfeng. But this matter has always been stuck in his heart like a thorn. Seeing Shi Qingfeng again today, Elder Lihuo also knew that today was the time for him to fulfill his promise. Young sect master, I don't know, you came to see me today. What's the matter? Elder Lihuo stood up quickly and stood aside respectfully. It's nothing. It's just that I'm interested in a person from your professor's college. Shi Qingfeng smiled slightly. I am curious, why are you interested in this new student Xiao Xian? In terms of strength, he is at the peak of the spiritual god realm. Even before entering the Qinglian Valley, he was still a high-level spiritual god realm, right? Yes. What the young sect master said is right, but, although this person is in my professor's college, he has never obeyed the leadership of our professor's college. That's why I targeted him like this. You, Elder Lihuo, are you a little dissatisfied with the treatment given to you by Qinghua Academy? You mean, old man Shillong? Elder Lihuo asked. No. Not yet. Elder Lihuo looked a little guilty. Young master, you can just call me Lihuo. Elder Lihuo's face was still a little embarrassed. Shi Qingfeng sneered. Elder Lihuo said, right. After hearing this, Shi Qingfeng's eyes looked a little strange, and then he laughed. So, I wonder if Elder Lihuo saw anything. No need. So to say. Shillong sect is the most powerful old sect in our Mingzhou territory. If possible, I would not want to stay in Qinghua Academy. If you are willing, I will go to Shillong sect immediately. Elder Lihuo was stunned. After all, what he did just now was indeed a bit sanctimonious, saying that he wanted to help other professors. Elder Lihuo said seriously. But in the end, those 100,000 Dao stones. After hearing this, as long as you, Lihuo, handle this matter well, it's not like I, the Stone Dragon sect, can't get out hundreds of thousands of Dao stones. Is it possible that he will have something to miss after he has another identity? So he wants the Shillong sect just for the sake of identity and status? Shi Qingfeng said, who would have known that Elder Lihuo would have such an arrangement just now? This is really interesting. Ashamed, I'm just a man with poor ambitions and a horse with thin hair and long hair. Elder Lihuo's face turned red. After hearing this, wouldn't it still go into his pocket? After all, Elder Lihuo said that he was an ordinary elder. Instead, Shi Qingfeng frowned slightly. Shi Qingfeng looked at Elder Lihuo, his brows wrinkled slightly, and his face looked a little ugly. Although Elder Lihuo's words were outright flattery, when he really said it, there was a sense of deliberately mocking the Shillong sect. That's why I have no nostalgia for Qinghua College. He never expected that Shi Qingfeng could say such words, and that the head of Shillong sect would value Xiaoxian so much. Say it. To be honest, I came to you today because our sect master is paying attention to this person and wants me to know more about him. My father said that the Xiaoxian encountered some adventures in Qinglian Valley, and it is very likely that he has a treasure in his possession. That's why he asked me to come see him. Shi Qingfeng said straight to the point, if you know any information about him, just tell it now. I don't dare to take this seriously. Good. Yes. Elder Lihuo said quickly, as you can see, I am just an ordinary elder, and I have no nostalgia here. 100,000 Dao stones are nothing. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 772. This. So, I wonder if there is anything I can do to help the young sect leader. Elder Lihuo was also a little panicked. He also knew very well that Shi Qingfeng, a young sect master, came to him specifically. Mostly there is something important. Arrange a professorship for me. I want to try the Xiaoxian skills, Shi Qingfeng said directly. Isn't this, not easy? The professors of Qinghua College are all disciples or colleges of this college. Outsiders are not qualified, right? Elder Lihuo was stunned. It's all about human effort. I don't believe it. As the dean of Qinghua College, can't you, Elder Lihuo, do this? Shi Qingfeng's eyes were a little cold. Do you want my father to personally arrange this for you? Don't dare. Young sect leader has misunderstood. I will just arrange this matter for you. I don't know, is there anything else you need? Elder Lihuo saw that Shi Qingfeng's expression softened slightly, and then he continued, but, I don't know why the Xiaoxian provoked our Shillong sect. When I heard Elder Lihuo say we. The smile returned to Shi Qingfeng's face and he continued, during the trial in Qinglian Valley, Shi Qing, the most talented disciple of our sect, died. This matter may be related to Xiaoxian. This time, Elder Lihuo's face instantly turned pale. He had heard of Shi Qing's name. It is said that this is a genius disciple that Shillong sect has spent a lot of resources to cultivate in recent years. Who knew he would die in Qinglian Valley? What's even more shocking is that this matter is actually related to Xiaoxian. Isn't this a joke? Although a new disciple is known as the number one among new students, that is only within the scope of new students, nothing more. Can such a person also pose a threat to Xicheng? Impossible. This was Elder Lihuo's first reaction. Don't underestimate the Xiaoxian. As far as I know, through this trial in the Qinglian Valley, he has been promoted from the high level of the spiritual god realm to the peak of the spiritual god realm. This is already a big change. Shi Qingfen looked serious. Despite this, Elder Lihuo's face was still a little solemn after hearing this, and he continued, "Young sect master, is this a mistake? How could the Xiaoxian be so capable? Isn't he a new student? Could it pose a threat to Xicheng? The specific situation is not yet known. But this decision was made by my father. If you have any doubts, you can ask my father." Shi Qingfen glanced at Elder Lihuo in front of him. I don't dare. Elder Lihuo quickly took back his words. Although the strength of Shi Qingfen in front of him was only at the spiritual god realm, which was still far behind him at the blue god realm, he did not dare to be too strong. Too presumptuous. After all, he is the only son of Elder Shilong. There is no problem with Shi Qingfeng's talent. The day ahead. Entering the blue god realm is almost a certainty. This is also the reason why Elder Lihuo dare not be too presumptuous when facing Shang Shi Qingfeng. Since it's old man Shilong's order, I will obey my orders. I heard old man Shilong. Elder Lihuo's face was filled with respect for a moment. Young master, please take a rest in our Professor Academy. I believe that with the reputation of young master, you can make a career even here. However, we still need to remain anonymous. This is not a problem. After all, I don't need these false names, but I want to see the Xiaoxian as soon as possible to see what he is capable of. Young master, don't worry. Elder Lihuo said quickly, after the 100,000 Dao stones are revealed, Xiaoxian will definitely be anxious. He will recruit students to earn Dao stones for himself. It won't be long before he appears again. That's good. Shi Qingfen nodded secretly. A few days later. Use the 6th grade Shen Long Kung. Xiaoxian clearly felt that the speed of his cultivation had also been greatly improved. He once secretly inquired from Long Ruoxiu that even the techniques practiced by Wu Meng and Kang Long were only at the 5th level. Even if there is no other opportunity for his current 6th level skills. For this. According to legend, in ancient times, the true dragon was the creator of this world, but after a catastrophe, the true dragon became extinct. Xiaoxian still inquired about what materials were needed for the 8th grade divine dragon skill. The system seemed to be hesitant to speak, and in the end it only encouraged him a little bit, nothing more. That's natural. Xiaoxian is currently in the spiritual god realm. Not to mention collecting some materials for the 8th level skills, he is afraid that he is not even qualified to contact them. Therefore, currently wanting to be promoted is nothing more than a dream. Xiaoxian said. But after this incident, Xiaoxian remembered something. At least, the mysterious true dragon's blood was remembered in his heart. This is definitely an ancient thing. However, when he asked about this idea, are you really planning to improve the Shenlong technique? That is becoming stronger. It is said that another group of new students have arrived at the professor's college. There is a Taoist competition, and Elder Lihuo hopes that all professors will participate. The answer casually given by the system really shocked him, a drop of true dragon essence and blood. On this continent, only by becoming stronger can you control your own destiny. Money, wealth, resources, and beautiful women are all at your fingertips. A few days later. Compared to these, he also specifically asked Xiaoxian to come too. Regarding Xiaoxian's answer. But that's the case. The system instead asked a question. The strength of human cultivators has also been greatly weakened. This instead aroused Xiaoxian's confusion and doubts. You know, almost all practitioners in the world have the same purpose. The original continent was divided into 4 parts. What are you going to do? The hardships on the path of cultivation are a bit unworthy of mention. You can also easily enter the Kengshen realm. The system gave an explanation clearly and neatly. Just after Xiaoxian asked. Long Ruoxiu found Xiaoxian again. True dragon essence and blood. If you want to survive in this world, you undoubtedly need strength. Naturally, I also want strength, right? But why would the system ask such a question at this time? Could it be that there are still people who are unwilling to become stronger? Xiaoxian couldn't help but have more ideas about the future. Even the 6th grade skills were so powerful. Wouldn't it be a step further if he could get the 8th grade skills? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 773. Hearing Long Ruoxiu's words. Instead, Xiaoxian frowned slightly, feeling something was different. For a long time, because everyone in the professor's college knew that he had offended Elder Agni, he basically had no friends in the professor's college. Basically, he has no share in good things like recruiting students. Today, Elder Lihuo is specifically looking for him. When things go wrong, there must be monsters. This is obviously the weasel giving New Year greetings to the chicken. Why, what kind of trap did Elder Lihuo set today to be able to say such a thing? Xiaoxian sneered. SHH. After hearing this, Long Ruoxiu was really startled and quickly stopped Xiaoxian. You know, even though they are in Zilan Cave Mansion at the moment, they still have to be careful when talking and doing things. Otherwise once someone else hears it, I'm afraid it will cause a lot of trouble in the end. Moreover, Elder Lihuo is not an easy person to talk to. If he knew these things, he might be in trouble. What are you afraid of? I'm afraid there's no one on the territory of the Professor Academy who doesn't know Elder Lihuo's hatred for me, right? Xiaoxian, on the other hand, was indifferent. Besides, anyone with a discerning eye can know that Elder Lihuo's Taoist competition this time is only aimed at me. After saying this, Long Ruoxiu could only nod helplessly. Others may not know. But as one of Xiaoxian's best friends, Long Ruoxiu knew very well that Xiaoxian was already struggling to survive among the teaching students because of Elder Lihuo's numerous attacks. From this perspective, Xiaoxian did not fall out with Elder Lihuo directly, which was already considered as giving him face. Of course, this was not because Xiaoxian had a good temper, but she felt that Xiaoxian seemed to be deliberately enduring something. How do I say this? Looking at what you mean, it seems that you are going to participate in this Taoist competition. Seeing Xiaoxian's eagerness to try, Long Ruoxiu felt a little worried and couldn't help but say, you all know that Elder Lihuo has set a trap for you. Otherwise, you should just find a reason not to go, right? I'm afraid we won't have this chance. Xiaoxian shook his head. Since Elder Lihuo was specifically looking for him, he had probably already thought of an excuse. If he didn't go, this matter would probably never end. But nothing to worry about. The soldiers are coming to block the water and come to Tutun. I'm really a little curious about how capable Elder Lihuo is and what methods he can come up with to target me. Xiaoxian shook his head slightly. Didn't there happen to be new students coming? I can also take this opportunity to recruit some new students and prepare the Taoist stone. After hearing this, Long Ruoxiu looked at Xiaoxian with something strange in his eyes. You know, if it is an ordinary professor, if the dean of the professor college targets him, I am afraid he will be in panic all day long. But Xiaoxian is better. He looked nonchalant. It was as if he didn't take this matter to heart at all. This was really hard for her to understand. Xiaoxian, are you going a little too far? You know, no matter what, Elder Lihuo is the dean of the professor college. If he wants to cause trouble for you, I'm afraid, it's really dangerous. Long Ruo Snow was a little worried. Definitely. To be courteous for nothing, it's obvious that this guy has another purpose. Xiaoxian is quite certain about this matter, however, if you really want to talk about it, I don't think he has that great ability. Regarding Xiaoxian's courageous statement, Long Ruoxiu couldn't help but look a little confused and curious. She knows. Xiaoxian is not the kind of reckless person. There are some things that he will not make decisions at will if he is not completely sure. Just like now. According to Long Ruoxiu's speculation, if he was not sure, Xiaoxian would rather hide in the Zilan cave to practice than go out casually. I said, are you really not prepared at all? You know the temper of Elder Lihuo. You're not really planning to conquer 10 guilds with one force and fight Elder Lihuo, are you? Along the way. Following Xiaoxian, Long Ruoxiu looked at Xiaoxian's menacing look, and she became a little worried. Is it possible that Xiaoxian is directly planning to fall out with Elder Lihuo? Junior brother Xiaoxian, as a new professor to our professor college, you should keep your heart humble. How come you don't salute or kneel when you face Elder Lihuo? Are you so arrogant? After hearing this, I'm not that stupid. Of course you have to be confident. Elder Lihuo said yes. Long Ruoxiu breathed a sigh of relief, but then asked, indeed, in my impression, no one in Qinghua Academy dares to really confront the elders, so what are you going to do? Xiaoxian shook his head. Besides, Elder Lihuo is also a dignified elder of Qinghua Academy. What qualifications do I have to provoke him? Elder Lihuo is still in the blue god realm. I am a small person at the peak of the spiritual god realm. If I go to him to fight for my life, wouldn't I be courting death? If I don't have self-confidence, wouldn't I really be trampled on by others? I don't want to be such a person. During the trip to Qinglian Valley. Say it. Elder Lihuo was still wearing a fiery red robe, sitting in the center of the meeting hall. Say these words. A professor said to Xiaoxian in a pretentious manner. Xiaoxian smiled. Faculty College. It seems you are very confident, Long Ruoxiu nodded secretly. To some extent. He felt that this ancient tree's Taoyun was, to a certain extent, even more precious than the broken bones of the heavenly dragon. It was nothing more than targeting Xiaoxian. The professors present were also whispering to each other, and they all focused on Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu. They could all hear it. A way to enhance the power of Taoism. Not only did he get treasures like the heavenly dragon broken bones to advance his Shenlong Kung Fu, but more importantly, he also got the ancient tree Daiyun. Elder Lihuo's voice was loud. Looking at Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu who had arrived late, they frowned slightly, but then sneered, it seems that the professors in our professor college are taking themselves more and more seriously. However, when she saw Xiaoxian's serious expression, she felt a little uneasy. She vaguely felt in her heart that Xiaoxian's words seemed to be true. Long Ruoxiu, who was proud by nature, subconsciously wanted to refute. Xiaoxian shook his head slightly and said with a stern face, as far as the current situation is concerned, ordinary people may not really have the ability to defeat me and my Taoist skills. Didn't Elder Lihuo say that this is a Taoist competition? Then use your Taoist strength to shut his mouth. If exposed, it would be enough to drive other students and practitioners of Qinghua Academy into madness. He is definitely the cultivator who has benefited the most. Is it possible that there is a second blue god realm in the professor's college? The meaning of Elder Lihuo's words. Even my words are ignored. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not fo. Chapter 774. What this professor said. All the disciples also focused on Xiaoxian. Obviously, they all wanted to take a good look at how Xiaoxian planned to deal with this professor's attack. This is an undoubted knock on the mountain and shocked the tiger. Although the person speaking was not Elder Lihuo. But it goes without saying that the person who backs this professor is Elder Lihuo, who is sitting firmly on the Diao Tai. If Xiaoxian cannot solve this matter properly, in the end, I am afraid that there will be more people who will target him later. Kneel. As a man, it is a great gift to kneel down on both knees. Kneel down to the sky and kneel to your parents. I wonder if Lihuo is the sky or the earth, or, your parents. Xiaoxian looked at the angry professor with a smile and asked, if so, you can kneel down. Say it. The professor immediately blushed. My face was burning and hurting. After all, he is a disciple of Wang Ao's lineage. After entering the professor's college, the reason why he chose to curry favor with Elder Lihuo was simply to get some resources and benefits. The reason why I was the first to target Xiaoxian just now. He just hopes to get some benefits by accepting a certificate of nomination in front of Elder Lihuo, and the latter can give him some convenience in the allocation of new students in the future. You know, those new students are all white Taoist stones. Every time there is a new student, there will be an additional portion of Dao stone. Things like Dao stone are extremely important no matter what time, and besides, the baptism of heavenly flame is coming soon. 100,000 stones. This is definitely not a small amount for ordinary professors. Xiaoxian, don't go too far. Elder Lihuo is the dean of the professors' college, and we, as professors of the professors' college, treat Elder Lihuo like a teacher and a father. Are you not afraid of being punished for being so rebellious? The professor's face was red, but he still gritted his teeth and said, if you don't give me an explanation today, I will never give up with you today. Speaking of which, Xiaoxian became interested instead. You know, he is no longer a freshman who just entered Qinghua College. Passed the trial in Qinglian Valley. Although his current strength is only at the peak of the spiritual God realm, even if there are practitioners of the great perfection of the spiritual God realm in front of him, he may not feel afraid. It's a bit interesting. However, I remember that private fights are prohibited in Qinghua Academy, so. Xiao Suanruo pointed, and then glanced at Elder Lihuo not far away with a vague look. His reaction seemed to surprise Elder Lihuo. Finally, Elder Lihuo sneered, although the college I teach belongs to Qinghua College, it also has its own rules. Professors can also compete in Taoism. Good. In that case, Xiaoxian, do you dare to try with me? Hear what Elder Lihuo said. The professor who spoke earlier also had a look of excitement on his face and jumped out, I've been thirsty for the Black Tiger Fist for a long time. Black Tiger Fist. Then let's try it. Xiaoxian's eyes flashed coldly. Without using any Taoist techniques at all, his fist was filled with the powerful power of the Taoist force, and he hit the professor directly on the chest. Extremely arrogant. The professor who provoked Xiaoxian before was also a practitioner of the great perfection of the spiritual God realm. He also saw that Xiaoxian was only at the peak of the spiritual God realm. That's why I have the courage to provoke. To be honest, as they are both professors, there is not much hatred between him and Xiaoxian, but with the help of Elder Lihuo, he must show attitude. Suppress Xiaoxian severely. Perhaps this is the only way to gain the trust of Elder Lihuo. In this case, then you, Xiaoxian, should suffer a little injustice. Even if you are number one among freshmen, so what? You can't escape today's beating. Black Tiger Fist. I saw a black power of the avenue condensing on the professor's hand, causing a gust of wind to flicker around him. Even the professors in the distance could feel the power of this strong wind, and their faces were a little solemn. After all, except Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu. These professors are basically very capable, even among the old students, they are all strong leaders. I was wrong, junior brother Xiao Xian, please spare your life. Since Elder Lihuo said it's over, it's over. This professor was taken down by Xiao Xian with one move, which naturally caused burning pain on Elder Lihuo's face. This scene actually surprised the professors present. Although Xiao Xian did not use all his power, Elder Lihuo looked angry. Just use a little force. He just turned sideways, his arms were as fast as lightning, and he directly pinched his wrist, and then used the flying mark claw as the first move. Until the fist reached his chest. It's like nothing happened. On the surface, he was not involved in anything, but anyone with a discerning eye could see that this professor obviously had his support before he challenged Xiao Xian in public. Such power. Just now Xiao Xian fought with another professor. This guy could be killed immediately. Enough. But after what happened, the professors next to him also had a little more fear on their faces, and those who were closer to Xiao Xian couldn't help but take a few steps back. Xiao Xian smiled slightly, let go of the professor on the ground, stood up, and walked aside. Okay. Seeing the menacing black tiger fist, Xiao Xian's expression did not change, and he did not even move his feet, but there was a bit of contempt on the corner of his mouth. Bai Qingfeng, the new professor of our teaching college. When these two people fought just now, they could clearly see that Xiao Xian only used one move to take him down first. He knocked the professor to the ground directly. The Taoist competition is all about reaching the point. How can you kill a fellow disciple? It's really too much. I felt a pressure on my throat like an iron claw. It's Xiao Xian. It really shocked everyone present. Seeing this scene, Elder Lihuo felt a little more annoyed, and he could only say, let's get down to business, I called you here today to introduce someone to you. And now under this situation, let Xiao Xian stand out. It was as if someone had actually slapped him in the face. Under the fatal crisis, the professor could not care less about his face and quickly raised his hands to beg for mercy. Ordinary people are simply not qualified to fight with them. Under the suffocation, his entire face turned purple. But the professor was still pressed hard to the ground, with 2 fingers pinching the latter's throat. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 775. Elder Lihuo said this. The professors present also started talking about it. After all, the professors of Qinghua College are still very prestigious to a certain extent. Not only can you get a lot of resources from Qinghua College, you can also enroll students to earn Taoist stones. Among the 8 branches of Qinghua Academy, only outstanding disciples can become professors and receive this honor. Who knew that Elder Lihuo had found another professor for no apparent reason? Isn't this a bit against the rules? Moreover, Qinghua College only provides so many resources to the professors every year, and one more person will have to allocate an extra share. Then wouldn't there be less resources that should be allocated to them? This Shi Qingfeng is a young talent from the Shillong section. He will not share everyone's resources in the Professor's Academy. Instead, he will bring some special resources to everyone. Elder Lihuo looked around, the Shillong body refining liquid specially provided by Shillong section. Say it. Everyone present was a little shocked. Although they are disciples of Qinghua Academy, they have also heard of the name of Shillong section. It is said that the reason why this disciple of Shillong sect is strong is because he has this thing to nourish his body every day. However, this thing has always been a secret of Shillong sect. Can it be taken out today? This is really something that people in Qinghua College can't help but complain about. After all, for such a long time, Kang Long, the dean of Qinghua College, had not been able to get the stone dragon body refining liquid. Can a so-called Shi Qingfeng do it? Could this be real? Several professors looked at each other with doubts on their faces. Everyone, don't worry. I have already investigated the stone dragon body refining liquid. It is undoubtedly genuine, and it has many benefits for practitioners in the spiritual god realm. Elder Lihuo said. What he said actually attracted the attention of some professors. You know, for ordinary cultivators, they usually spend a lot of time on cultivation. But more of it is in Kung Fu and Taoism. There is very little physical training. On the one hand, Qinghua Academy does not place as much emphasis on physical tempering as the Shillong sect does. On the other hand, they do not have an overly advanced inheritance of physical tempering. Therefore, in the process of cultivation, they basically don't care about physical cultivation. These are also some of the problems encountered by most ordinary practitioners in Qinghua Academy. If they can use the stone dragon body refining liquid to improve their physical toughness, this is of course excellent. How to say? Everyone can speak freely. Do you want the stone dragon body refining liquid? Elder Lihuo looked around. After seeing the excited expressions of the professors around him, he nodded slightly. Since everyone is willing to accept it, then Shi Qingfeng can be considered a professor in our professor college. Unknowingly, Elder Lihuo also solved the identity problem of Shi Qingfeng. Seeing Elder Lihuo's actions, Xiao Xian smiled secretly in his heart. Others couldn't see it, but he could see it clearly. Today was supposed to be a Taoist competition in the teaching academy. But Elder Lihuo made such an inexplicable Shi Qingfeng. His purpose is also very clear. It's nothing more than trying to push out Shi Qingfeng among these people. Judging from Elder Lihuo's attitude towards him, it was obvious that Elder Lihuo just wanted to cause trouble for him. So, Shi Qingfeng is his trump card? Xiao Xian couldn't help but become a little curious. If Elder Lihuo didn't lie, Shi Qingfeng should really be from the Shillong section then. As the elder of Qinghua Academy, Elder Lihuo secretly colluded with the Shillong section. This seems to be somewhat problematic. So, Shi Qingfeng is also qualified to participate in the Taoist battle. Later, let him show you one of their sect's stone dragon sword techniques. Elder Lihuo looked at Xiao Xian meaningfully. I don't know, who is interested in going up and giving him a try? Elder Lihuo's words contained a pregnant tone. It is clear. Just want Xiao Xian and Shi Qingfeng to fight. At the same time, Xiao Xian also saw clearly that the purpose of Elder Lihuo was to get Shi Qingfeng to fight him. But at this moment, Xiao Xian had no intention of wasting time on these things. After all, with this time, he might as well practice in his Zilan cave for a while. What's the point of fighting with a stranger? Anyone with eyesight can see it now. This Shi Qingfeng is definitely not a good person. Fighting with such a smelly and tough guy will probably do no good at all. As for the so-called Shillong body refining liquid, maybe, the average cultivator would indeed be interested in this kind of spiritual treasure potion that can temper the body, but Xiao Xian, who has a dragon bill of lading and a colorful aura, doesn't care. What kind of bullshit stone dragon body refining liquid is this? No matter how powerful it is, can it compare to the physique of the ancient mythical beast? Therefore, Xiao Xian still didn't care, looked disdainful, and seemed not to take this matter to heart at all. This time, it made the people next to me a little embarrassed. Elder Lihuo and Shi Qingfeng felt like they were punched on cotton. Xiao Xian. As a person who participated in the trial of Qinglian Valley, you don't even have the courage to compete with me in Taoism. Shi Qingfeng deliberately provoked the general and said, isn't this a bit ridiculous? Say it. A kind of professor's gaze also focused on Xiao Xian again. However, Xiao Xian didn't pay attention to this kind of gaze at all. Practiced for thousands of years, his heart has long been immune to these false taunts. Let me ask, he has experienced so much cultivation, and he has seen more than tens of millions of cultivators, and he only made a few mocking remarks. How could he take it to heart? Xiaoxian, don't you really dare to come up and fight? Elder Lihuo also had a sarcastic look on his face. If this is really the case, I'm afraid it will damage my Taoist heart. Daoxin. Not participating in a mere Taoist competition. Can it affect your Taoist mind? Xiaoxian almost laughed out loud after hearing this. Just kidding, if it can affect the Taoist heart of a mere Taoist with little success, wouldn't it be a bit too contemptuous of him? No. Thank you, Elder Lihuo, for your love. Come to think of it, I really don't value this Taoist competition that much. After all, there's not much to gain, right? Xiaoxian said nonchalantly, is it possible that just for a mere reputation, you let me compete with strangers in Taoism? Say this. Elder Lihuo's face turned a little green. Having said this, most people may not be able to draw any conclusions. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 776. So to say. Xiaoxian, you don't want to participate in this competition because the lottery is not enough? If I can give you some lottery, I wonder if you are willing to take action. Shi Qingfeng said with a smile. Say it. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became a bit solemn. After all, originally this seemed to be just a Taoist competition, but according to what Shi Qingfeng and Xiaoxian meant, it didn't look like an ordinary Taoist competition. Seems more like a life and death duel? The professors present couldn't help but gasped. After being in the teaching college for such a long time, they also know Elder Lihuo's temper and character, although he rarely loses his temper. But there are some things once decided. It will not be changed at will. Just like today, since Elder Lihuo specifically wanted to confront Xiaoxian and Shi Qingfeng, it was obvious that he was still willing to have a fight between these two people. Could it be that Xiaoxian really dared not to give face to Elder Lihuo? Then let's ask brother Shi Qingfeng to tell us what good fortune you can bring out. Xiaoxian was not afraid of Elder Lihuo. He really wanted to hear how capable this so-called Shi Qingfeng was. 200,000 Dao stones. If you can beat me, I will give you 200,000 Dao stones. Shi Qingfeng said with a smile, no matter what Taoist techniques or secret methods you use, as long as you can defeat me, I will respectfully give you 200,000 Taoist stones. Say it. It was also a stone that instantly stirred up 1,000 waves. 200,000 stones. This is definitely not a small amount. Even within the Mingzhou territory, it is considered the annual income of a medium-sized family. But now, you can get 200,000 Dao stones in one duel, which is definitely a great temptation. After hearing this, Xiaoxian shook his head. Although the 200,000 Dao stones are very tempting, it still seems to be a bit missing. Say it. Everyone present looked at him strangely. It's like looking at a monster. 200,000 Dao stones, even other professors are a little excited. But Xiaoxian is still not satisfied. Is this a bit too much? Could it be that he really thought he had won? Oh. In that case, my horizons are a bit narrow. Shi Qingfeng was also startled, then smiled, and said, 300,000, 500,000, Shi Qingfeng, the barbarian, can get it? Joke. He was originally the young sect leader of Shillong sect. He also has some resources and capital in his hands. At least, he can still get a few 100,000 Dao stones. Hundreds of thousands are not fun to play with. Why don't you give me 1 million, and I'll play with you? Xiaoxian licked his lips and said, I wonder if brother Shi Qingfeng has the courage to accept the challenge. Say it. Shi Qingfeng's face suddenly turned a little dark. 1 million Dao stones. If you put this much money at the auction, you can even buy real Earth-level Taoism. Don't talk about him. Even if his father, old man Shillong, comes, he must think about it carefully. Presumptuous. Xiaoxian, Professor Shi Qingfeng is here to compete with you in Taoism. If you don't dare, you can just refuse. Why make trouble unreasonably? Seeing Shi Qingfeng's unhappy face, Elder Li Huo immediately stood up and said, "Can you come up with 1 million Dao stones?" "Yes, if you can't bring up 1 million Dao stones, why should you compete? The competition must be fair and just. Don't take the porcelain job without diamonds, Xiaoxian, I think you should not be too arrogant." With Elder Li Huo taking the lead, other professors also sneered and ridiculed. Xiaoxian didn't care about this, but said, "If I lose, I will spend my own spiritual energy, and I will no longer be in the thorough cultivation world." Say it. Everyone present was shocked. Even Elder Li Huo couldn't help but twitch his brows. After several conflicts with Xiaoxian, he also hated Xiaoxian from the bottom of his heart, but even so, it only limited his training resources and disgusted him, nothing more. Who knows now? Xiaoxian actually directly said that he would destroy his spiritual roots. This is no joke, since he experienced the trial in Qinglian Valley, he has become a hot cultivation genius in Qinglian Valley. Even Kang Long, who was the dean, praised him highly. He is said to be a once-in-a-century cultivation genius from Qinghua Academy. Now, if Xiaoxian really has a problem in the Professor College, I am afraid he will really be in trouble. This. Good. Elder Li Huo originally wanted to say something. Shi Qingfeng didn't wait for him to hesitate, and directly took out an intermediate Qinqin bag. There are exactly 1 million Dao stones in it. If Xiaoxian can defeat me, these 1 million Dao stones will be yours. Ding dong. The intermediate Qinqin bag is opened. The strong atmosphere of the avenue spread out instantly. It immediately aroused the jealousy of all the professors present. You must know that although Shi Qingfeng is the young master of the Shillong sect, his strength is also at the level of the spiritual god realm. But in the Professors' College, there are also many people who have reached the great perfection of the spiritual god realm. In a one-on-one battle with Shi Qingfeng, there is no doubt that he will lose. It can be said that as long as Shi Qingfeng relents, other professors will also be willing to give it a try. However, for Shi Qingfeng, he was also secretly happy. Originally, he came with the secret mission of Shillong sect this time. If it is found out that Xiaoxian is the murderer of Shi Cheng, in the end, the root of the problem must be eradicated. Now, since Xiaoxian can be solved with such a straightforward method, why not do it? Moreover, even under Kang Glong's intervention in the end, Xiaoxian cannot destroy his spiritual roots. I'm afraid that he won't have the face to hang out in Mingzhou territory in the future, which is naturally a good thing for Shillong sect. After all, they are both Mingzhou domain sects. Naturally, Shillong sect does not want to see geniuses appearing in other sects in the same area. Then let's try it. Just in time, I also want to see how capable the rumored most talented disciple of Qinghua Academy is. Shi Qingfeng said and walked out of the meeting hall. Standing on the fighting platform. On the fighting stage at this moment, there happened to be a pair of cultivators fighting each other, but after seeing Shi Qingfeng, they stopped their movements in unison. Because they see it. Shi Qingfeng's body was actually covered with a layer of gray-white Daoli armor. It's like it's condensed into an exoskeleton. The power of Tao is externalized. This is a sign that can only be found in the Blue God realm. The more powerful the Kangshen realm cultivator is, the more obvious the externalization of his Dao power will be. For example, Shi Qingfeng's current level of externalization seems to have reached the second level of the Kang God realm. At this scene, even Elder Li Huo was secretly speechless. However, he knew that the Taoist aura in Shi Qingfeng had not broken through to the Kangshen realm, and the externalization of the principles in him should be some kind of secret technique. But there is no battle yet. Just showing off his secret technique, is Shi Qingfeng too confident or too arrogant? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 777. Standing on the fighting platform. Xiao Xian looked at Shi Qingfeng not far away, and nodded secretly when he saw the Taoist bones on his body. Although I don't know how powerful this force bone is. But from the looks of it, it still feels a bit oppressive. Thinking about it, Shi Qingfeng's defense power should be greatly improved with this thing. Xiao Xian, I know you have some tricks. However, if you want to use those spirit god realm methods to deal with me, you are thinking too much. My bones, where the power is externalized, cannot be broken by ordinary spiritual gods. Shi Qingfeng sneered, and with a movement of his hand, he transformed into a bright white bone knife. On the edge of the bone knife, there were still bursts of Tao power. It is obviously a weapon of high quality. Don't talk so much. Xiao Xian shook his head. Then let's see the real thing in your hands, Shi Qingfeng sneered, let me see if you are so capable. Tianzhan bone knife. The white bone knife drew an arc in mid-air. With the roar of the wind, it went straight to Xiao Xian's neck and stabbed it. This move was as fast as lightning and as fast as a meteor. Coupled with the blessing of the Dao power of the great perfection of the spiritual god realm, even ordinary encounters in the Kangshen realm must be handled with caution. However, Xiao Xian stood motionless in front of him. It seemed like there was no reaction at all. Seeing this, Bai Qingfeng had a sinister smile on his face, and he actually ignored the power of his Tianquan bone sword. Isn't this seeking death? But then he stopped laughing. After the bone knife pierced Xiao Xian's body, the soft touch that he imagined piercing the flesh did not appear. Instead, it felt like it was piercing a ball of cotton. Not good. After feeling something is wrong, Shi Qingfeng reacted quickly, turned his head quickly, and slashed behind him with a sword. It turned out that Xiao Xian in front of him was just an after-image. The real Xiao Xian had touched his back unknowingly, and the serious sword had almost pierced the back of his neck. Fortunately he reacted quickly. This sword was also lucky enough to hit the heavenly wolf sword. Otherwise, in just a moment, he might have been defeated. It's so fast. Even so, Xiao Xian's terrifying speed still made Shi Qingfeng break into a cold sweat. I do have a bit of a sense of combat. Xiao Xian also nodded slightly. Snored. Do you really think I'm the kind of idiot who only knows how to practice? Shi Qingfeng sneered. The Shillong sect has always had a tradition of attaching importance to combat experience. As the young master of the Shillong sect, he has also been through blood and fire, so he naturally has rich combat experience. His fighting ability. It is definitely not comparable to those professors who only know how to practice in the sect. Then come on. Just in time, let me see how effective the trial in Qinglian Valley is. Xiao Xian also became interested. Since coming out of Qinglian Valley, after obtaining the colorful aura and the ancient tree's Dao Yun, he felt that his control over the power of the Dao seemed to have become more proficient. Therefore, the power of his Taoist skills was greatly enhanced. He had a feeling that even if Wu Sheng and Meng Shui joined forces at that time, they would not be his opponent. Now, there is Shi Qingfeng here. It's time to give this guy a try and see how powerful he is. The serious sword was slightly raised. Pure Yangwuji swordsmanship started to move. A golden longsword was like a swimming dragon, heading straight for the vital points on Shi Qingfeng's body. Even though Shi Qingfeng had rich fighting experience and his level was one level higher than Xiao Xian, he was also a little panicked when he was dealing with it at this moment. As a small earth-level Taoist technique, Pure Yang Wuji Kendo is a fusion of Higong Sunhei's Pure Yang sword technique and system Wuji Kendo. Full of power and incomparable subtlety. Although the bone knife in Shi Qingfeng's hand was of high quality, it still fell behind without the bonus of exquisite Taoist skills. This, Xiao Xian is so powerful. I originally thought that he just had some adventures in Qinglian Valley, but now it seems that this is not just as simple as improving his realm. This sword move is indeed exquisite. It seems to be at the level of a small earth-level swordsman. Several professors also commented one after another. But more than anything, he was envious. After all, if Xiao Xian could really defeat Shi Qingfeng, he would have obtained 1 million Dao stones. Don't talk about these spiritual gods. Even if a cultivator in the blue god realm can obtain these million Dao stones, his strength will be greatly improved. Tian can change. But if they dodge, these physical cultivators will let the enemy take advantage of them and continue to pursue them. He can also find ways to turn defeat into victory and finally defeat the opponent. Then Shi Qingfeng's ferocious beast-like attack began. His power exoskeleton was originally formed close to the body, and the whole body's power was filled with it, almost integrating with his body. Not only are they powerful and physically tough, but their long-term training has also given them long-lasting endurance. It is also the favorite move of many high-level 1 cultivators who have tempered their bodies. And ordinary physical cultivators. The whole person seemed to have turned into a hedgehog covered in bones for defense and bone knives for attack. Often the pursuit can exhaust the opponent. After being temporarily suppressed by Xiao Xian, he also turned cold, blocked the serious sword with a bone knife block, and took a few steps back. In the end, he won the battle. After Shi Qingfeng finished speaking, the bone knife in his hand suddenly changed. Bai Shenzhen's bone knife flew away in an instant, and actually merged with the Daolai bones in his body. If faced head-on, ordinary cultivators would definitely not be as strong as these physical cultivators. It is really difficult for ordinary practitioners to solve it. With the blessing of the whole body's strength, the energy in his whole body reached its peak, and then his body was like a wild bull, crashing directly towards Xiao Xian. Although this kind of combat method seems rather shameless, in a life-and-death competition, only the winner is king. Is there anyone who cares about how the other party wins? Shi Qingfeng roared angrily. If Shi Qingfeng chooses this rogue way of fighting, Xiao Xian is afraid that he will suffer a big loss, and his final defeat seems to be a certainty. A group of professors who were watching also nodded secretly. As the young master of the Shillong sect, he has always had smooth sailing over the years, no matter whether he is dueling with sect disciples or training outside. Even if you are at a disadvantage for a while. Boom. The power on this bone knife naturally increased greatly. Shi Qingfeng was not impatient. The tempered, steel-like flesh carries a huge impact, and the whole body seems like a rampaging beast. Deal with such an opponent. That's what you're capable of. Swing it around, and the tiger will make wind. At this moment, a Daolai bone knife was added. But extremely domineering. This move seems ordinary. Seeing to be suppressed by Xiao Xian's serious sword. You can force me to use this move. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 778. On the battlefield. Xiao Xian kept avoiding. Shi Qingfeng kept chasing. Long Ruoxiu was worried about Xiao Xian. She could see that Xiao Xian was indeed weaker than Shi Qingfeng in terms of Tao power. If we really delay it like this, I'm afraid Xiao Xian will be at a disadvantage in the end. What is the first among freshmen? It's just some false reputation. If we really fight, we will end up in failure. Seeing that Xiao Xian was at a disadvantage, a group of professors also mocked him one after another, as if Xiao Xian was destined to lose. For this, the person next to you may not care. But Xiao Xian could see clearly that this Shi Qingfeng looked arrogant and domineering, but in fact, he didn't seem to be invincible. Especially this guy's soul power. Very weak. Then let's try it. Isn't it just Shi Qingfeng? I want to see how capable you are. Xiao Xian took a few steps back. The power of the real soul was released without any concealment. Under such a powerful soul power, Shi Qingfeng, who was standing not far away, was stunned. He looked at Xiao Xian in disbelief, his eyes a little distracted. Fall down. Xiao Xian smiled coldly. The power of the mind and soul in the divine palace was instantly released. A giant white dragon suddenly appeared, suppressing Shi Qingfeng's soul. After that, Shi Qingfeng just felt a sharp pain in his head, his limbs became weak, his vision went dark, and his body fell to the ground involuntarily. Boom! After a loud noise, Shi Qingfeng's body looked like a tree stump on the fighting stage. He fell softly to the ground. Xiao Xian, win. At this time, the people next to him were shocked for a moment, and Elder Lihuo even stood up involuntarily. Xiao Xian had clearly been suppressed just now. Why did the situation suddenly reverse? Even if Xiao Xian really has powerful soul power, can he really win with one move? Let Shi Qingfeng lose directly? Long Ruoxiu's face lit up with joy, and she almost jumped up with joy. She was not only happy for the 1 million Dao stones that Xiao Xian earned, but more importantly, she knew that Xiao Xian's victory this time established his status in the professor's college. How to say? Are you going to admit defeat? Xiao Xian was holding the serious sword, and the tip of the sword was pointed directly at Shi Qingfeng's face on the ground, his face looking a little colder. The effect of the soul attack is very significant. After the white dragon shocked Shi Qingfeng, at this moment, in his heart, Xiao Xian's shock was indeed very powerful. Shi Qingfeng at this moment. He was almost speechless. He just raised his hands tremblingly and admitted defeat. This time, it shocked everyone present. Even Elder Lihuo frowned tightly, looking at Xiao Xian with strange eyes, and couldn't believe his own eyes. You know, this Shi Qingfeng is in the great perfection of spiritual God realm. And it has been many years since he reached this level. Among the younger generation of Shillong sect, he is also one of the top ones in terms of strength. Not inferior to Shi Qing. But now, Xiao Xian was defeated so easily. How could this not shock others? 1 million Dao stones. Thank you very much. Xiao Xian smiled slightly. He is not a miser, but there is probably no cultivator in the world who dislikes money and resources. Moreover, with these million Dao stones, he can also prepare some resources needed to enter the Blue God realm in advance. After saying that, Xiao Xian jumped off the fighting platform and casually found a seat in the meeting hall to sit down, his eyes indifferent. It's like nothing happened. Regarding this point, Long Ruoxiu's eyes were strange. You know, when Xiao Xian first entered Qinghua College, he was just an ordinary freshman, and Long Ruoxiu was firmly ahead of him in terms of strength. But unconsciously, Xiao Xian's strength has surpassed hers, even to the point where she can't understand. This shocked and confused her. After all, she has seen all Xiao Xian's experiences along the way, from first place in the competition among freshmen, to first place in the selection of professors, to the brilliant performance in Qinglian Valley. Now he can defeat Bai Qingfeng so easily with the power of his soul. This step by step seemed to go smoothly, but only Long Ruoxiu knew how much effort he had put in. Not to mention ordinary people putting in these efforts. I'm afraid I don't even dare to think about such a process. But now, Xiao Xian not only did it, he also did it in front of so many people. Maybe this is genius? How did you do it? Long Ruoxiu couldn't help but ask Xiao Xian. Didn't you see it all? Xiao Xian looked back at Long Ruoxiu, deliberately pretending to be stupid, first like this, then like that, you win. Don't act stupid. Tell me quickly, how did you defeat Shi Qingfeng so easily? Your strength is at the peak of the spiritual god realm, and I am on the same level as me, right? Long Ruoxiu's heart was also full of doubts. She also knew that there were indeed some so-called cultivation geniuses on the great Dao continent. These people often paid a small price to obtain status and levels that others could not match. But all the time, she didn't seem to see any talent in Xiaoxian. We'll talk about this later. Xiaoxian looked at the people next to him for a moment and continued, today is not an admissions meeting. I can't be too dominant. Say it. Elder Lihuo's mouth also twitched a little. What is this? Isn't it obviously a deliberate provocation? You have just gained so much limelight, so what are you saying about taking the spotlight? Could this be a deliberate provocation to him? Ahem. I saw people in the professor's college talking a lot. Elder Lihuo coughed deliberately and then said, although the battle was over just now, but, Xiaoxian used the power of the soul to defeat him, but he was still a bit weak. Victory without force. The professor's presence suddenly looked strange. What does it mean to win without force? On the fighting stage, no one seemed to have ever said that the power of the soul was not allowed. However, no one has ever been able to cultivate the power of the soul to the level of the spiritual realm. Therefore, few people care about using the power of the soul to win. Now, it is a novel thing for Xiaoxian to directly win with the power of his soul. No wonder Elder Lihuo is questioning him like this. Interesting. So, Shi Qingfeng, are you unwilling to admit it? Xiaoxian turned back directly and said, if that's the case, I don't mind using Dao power to defeat you again. Do you dare to accept the challenge? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 779. No. No, no need. 1,000,000 Dao stones will be given to you. Originally, after a group of professors heard Elder Lihuo's words, their faces were a little strange, as if they didn't dare to accept it. Who knows? After hearing these words, Shi Qingfeng's face was full of fear, and he shook his head one after another, with fear in his eyes. He looked like he was frightened by Xiaoxian. Seeing this, Xiaoxian couldn't help but shake his head. He knew that after this battle, Shi Qingfeng's Taoist heart would be affected to some extent. If not done well, the path of cultivation in this life will stop here. This is no joke. After all, the attack of the power of the soul is so domineering, either you die or I die. This is also when playing against people. The reason why few people would take the initiative to use soul attacks against opponents of similar strength. If you are not careful when attacking with the power of your soul, it may directly backfire on you, or even cause your soul to collapse. It's really. Hearing Shi Qingfeng's words, Elder Lihuo also had a bit of hatred on his face. To be honest, although he is an elder of Qinghua Academy, because of his hatred for Xiaoxian, he is also unwilling to accept Xiaoxian's victory. Therefore, he took the initiative to find trouble with Xiaoxian. Who would have known that this young master of Shillong sect would be so hopeless, and even before he did anything, he was immediately scared. This is really a bit embarrassing. Shi Qingfeng, are you really not willing to challenge again? Maybe if you challenge again, you can easily win, otherwise. Elder Lihuo hoped from the bottom of his heart that Shi Qingfeng would defeat Xiaoxian. But now, seeing Shi Qingfeng's appearance, he could only sigh helplessly, expressing his helplessness. Then, enrollment has begun. I hope all new students can choose the right teacher. Finally, in front of everyone, he was still a little embarrassed and could only announce the start of the Taoist competition. In fact, his words are basically useless. Because basically everyone could clearly see the situation just now. Xiao Xian easily defeated Shi Qingfeng, the young master of the Shillong sect. How strong is he? Basically, no one else needs to say anything. Not only all the professors, but also the other freshmen could see it clearly. Moreover, when choosing professors, almost all freshmen have the same idea, which is to choose a stronger professor. Therefore, Xiao Xian naturally attracted the favor of more freshmen. Senior brother Xiao Xian, can I become your student? If possible, I am willing to pay twice as much Dao stone. Senior brother Xiao Xian, I want to learn the swordsmanship you just did. It's funny, the swordsmanship that senior brother Xiao Xian just performed was at least the Xian level, and even, has touched the earth level. How can I teach you such a Taoist skill? It would be great if I could learn senior brother Xiao Xian's movement skills. A group of freshmen all showed excited expressions. However, most of the expressions were on Xiao Xian's face, and other professors were naturally ignored. Even Elder Li Huo, who is the dean of the professor college, has not received the attention of a few freshmen. Everyone, don't worry. Since I, Xiao Xian, am a professor in the academy, whatever I, Xiao Xian, know, will be taught to everyone. Xiao Xian smiled and said, but the fee, may be higher than other professors. No problem. Isn't it the Dao stone? The most indispensable thing in my Wang family is the Dao stone. As long as you can learn earth-level Taoism, what does Taoist stone mean? How about 10,000 a month? If it's not enough, I'll add more. You want to learn earth-level Taoism for 10,000 yuan? I'll pay 30,000 yuan. Hearing these heroic words, Xiao Xian suddenly realized a problem. Was the way he behaved just now too petty? Listen to these people. All of these guys are rich children. Tens of thousands of stones at every turn? It was as if these Dao stones had fallen from the sky, which really gave Xiao Xian an eye-opening feeling. Practice together? Moreover, Xiao Xian was still a freshman when he first came to the professor's college. Such an originally huge Taoist recruitment meeting. The other professors nearby were much deserted. For a moment, the professors and freshmen present looked at him. Senior brother Xiao Xian is a talented person and very strong. This is not incomprehensible. They are also a bit more strange. Xiao Xian looked embarrassed. Moreover, if there are too many students, I can't take care of them by myself. Why don't you sign up with senior sister Long? I will occasionally go to practice with you, senior sister Long. Originally Xiao Xian's purpose was to help Long Ruoxiu recruit students. Ahem. Even though Xiao Xian is extremely powerful. And these days, I see that senior sister Ruoxiu is becoming more and more plump and charming. Maybe it's because of this. Compared to their booming enrollment. Even Elder Li Huo looked a little confused. After the little cats enrolled a few people in 3s and 2s, they left in annoyance. Everyone was talking about it, and he had no way to stop it. He could only look at Long Ruoxiu beside him with a slightly embarrassed look. Well, according to the rules of the professor's college, it seems that I can only accept a maximum of 50 freshmen as apprentices. It has become so powerful. Qinghua Academy prohibits evil arts, but it does not have too much control over such cultivation methods as happy zen and double cultivation. But at this moment, his words attracted strange looks from some people. He really needs to think carefully about where to use these resources. Could this be the legendary dual cultivation? As the saying goes, a horse cannot grow fat without a night of grass. How could Xiao Xian's strength grow so fast without some special means? But soon, the battle between the two of them was interrupted by the freshman's words about studying. After all, no freshman wanted to miss such a good opportunity to learn Taoism. More importantly, he also got 1 million Tao stones. He got a few big eye rolls from Long Ruoxiu again. It ended in such an anticlimactic manner. Obviously, everyone also recognized the reason of double cultivation. As expected. What does it mean to practice together? It doesn't matter. However, the person who benefited the most this time was undoubtedly Xiaoxian. Not only did he completely establish a reputation in Qinghua Academy, he also recruited so many new disciples. Senior sister Long turns out to be our new goddess. Together with senior brother Xiaoxian, we will live and fly together. Less than a month. You, don't make blind guesses. I have nothing to do with Xiaoxian's cultivation. Even though Long Ruoxiu was known as the Little Witch, she was blushing a little at this moment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 780. I had the experience of being a clan leader before. Xiaoxian also has his own unique insights in selecting his disciples. Over the years, he has seen countless talents and young heroes. Not only can he tell the strength and talent of these new students at a glance, but he can also see them at a glance. Basically, he will only recruit talented disciples. He also understands. Although he is still a small professor at Qinghua College now, in the future, when he becomes a powerful person in the Mingzhou realm or even the Eastern Wilderness continent, there will definitely be some followers around him. After all, the emperor also wants 3 groups of people. Even if he really becomes a big boss, he still needs some younger brothers around him. Since the younger brothers from Tianqian continent and Honghuan continent cannot come for the time being, he also needs to recruit some younger brothers to do odd jobs. Of course, this was not said directly. On the other hand, Long Ruoxiu was actually very happy. Although she had help from her own Long family, she also had disciples who took the initiative to sign up. But those people's registrations are compared with recruiting people like Xiaoxian. The difference is naturally not a tiny bit. These new disciples were recruited by herself, so the meaning was different. What's wrong? Looking at how you look now, you don't seem too happy? You just recruited so many new students and earned 1,000,000 Dao stones. Doesn't this make you happy? After recruiting new disciples, Long Ruoxiu also followed Xiaoxian out of the meeting hall, but something made her feel a little strange. At this time, Xiaoxian seemed a little frowning when facing her. It's not true. I'm just a little curious about Tianyuan baptism. Xiaoxian shook his head and said, if we compete in strength, I am naturally not afraid, but from what I said before, it seems that you have to be close to Tianyuan to be eligible to enjoy the baptism of Tianyuan. Yes, this is also the rule in Mingzhou territory. Long Ruoxiu nodded. In other words, no matter how powerful some people are, they may not be able to get the baptism of heavenly flame. Xiaoxian frowned slightly. So that's what you're worried about. Don't worry, the baptism of heavenly flames is a trial that we, the spiritual god realm cultivators in the Ningzhou territory, would only dream of obtaining. Naturally, there will be no forced regulations. Long Ruoxiu smiled slightly and said, however, you need to have enough strength, so that you may be able to resist the erosion of your body by the heavenly flame. Hear this? Xiaoxian just nodded slightly. However, he still felt somewhat uncomfortable. To be honest, he has the way of chaos promised by the system. Chaos is the foundation of all things, and among all things in the world, there should be no way to resist it. But in this Mingzhou realm, he actually needs to be close to Tianyuan. Instead of pondering the way of chaos, instead accepting the baptism of the heavenly flame, it somewhat means sacrificing the basics and pursuing the weak. But now, faced with such a situation, he really didn't have much explanation. If you don't participate in the baptism of Tianyuan, is there no way to get in touch with the big shots in Mingzhou domain? Xiaoxian asked. Your purpose is to get in touch with the big shots in Mingzhou territory. Long Ruoxia couldn't help being stunned. There was something strange in her eyes. She looked at Xiaoxian, full of doubts in her heart. Ordinary practitioners. As long as they heard about the baptism of Tianyan in Mingzhou territory, they would try their best to get benefits from it. Enlighten the Great Road as soon as possible and enter the realm of Kangshen. How could there be someone like Xiaoxian, with such a pure and strange mind, who didn't want to enter the Kangshen realm early, but wanted to meet the big shots in the Mingzhou realm? Isn't this a bit strange? What other purpose do you have for coming to Mingzhou territory? Long Ruoxia calmed down a little and continued, this is a bit beyond my expectation. Can you tell me what your purpose is for coming here? What? Are you curious about this? Even if he was once the creation spirit and the emperor of heaven and earth, he might die if he is not careful. Don't put too much pressure on yourself sometimes. Xiaoxian was also grateful from the bottom of his heart. What is the secret about you? Hearing this, Long Ruoxia became even more curious. She came over and asked with interest, since I was born, Long Ruoxia has never known what giving up means. Today, since I know these things, then we must deal with it to the end. But this road is undoubtedly extremely dangerous. You misunderstood. On the other hand, I also want to keep my secret secret. It was because he trusted Long Ruoxia that he said these words. With her understanding of Xiaoxian, she could also feel that Xiaoxian really seemed to have some unspeakable secrets. Say it. Actually, it's not that I don't want to tell you. It's just that even if I tell you, it probably won't do you any good. Instead, it might even cause you trouble. Thank you very much. Then why don't you tell me your purpose? Long Ruoxia seemed to feel a little embarrassed, and turned her head angrily, giving Xiaoxian a back view. Long Ruoxia didn't hesitate to ask. She just nodded slightly and continued, in this case, I won't say more, but if you need it, I can help you as much as possible. Xiaoxian quickly comforted him, we entered Qinghua College together. In the entire Qinghua College, you and Master Wu are the only ones who are closer to me. How could I dislike your strength? Just to have that, I'm so grateful. Under such circumstances. Xiaoxian was stunned instead. What's the purpose? Long Ruoxia looked directly at Xiaoxian. Say it. After all, he knew that as a person who came to this continent inexplicably, he still wanted to explore the core secrets of this continent. That being the case, everyone adds fuel to the fire. Sometimes, you may still need the cooperation of others. Maybe I am not very powerful now, but there are some things I can still help you with. It's not that he doesn't want to speak out his purpose casually, on the one hand, he doesn't want to implicate others. As he said this, Long Ruoxia's voice was choked up. Long Ruoxia's face next to her also became a little solemn. Xiaoxian smiled bitterly and shook his head. Actually, it's okay to say it, but I feel like you can't help much in this matter. Xiaoxian shook his head and smiled, so, I don't want to say more, that's all. Nothing, I just want to know a secret, or find a key. How could I have such thoughts? He didn't expect that Long Ruoxia would be so excited. It seemed like he didn't say anything about what he just said. Hear this.